Greetings nerdlings and welcome to AmalgamNation presents World of Lorecraft, Racecraft, Orc Edition. To their enemies they are brutal and fearsome opponents without parallel in their ferocity and cunning. To their allies they are noble and honourable, following the traditions of a rediscovered past. The Orcs of Lordaeron are part of a race that has once again found its true spirit, shunning the cruel practices of arcane and demonic magic for the paths of wisdom and power. Some Orcs still hang on to the arcane practices of the past, but their time is fading. Though brutal in combat, Orcs fight with a feral grace that equals even the finest fencing of an elven noble. For an Orc, skill in battle brings great honour. The concept of personal honour that pervades all echelons of Orcish society has made the race more cohesive and more of a threat to their adversaries in the Alliance. Even the naming of an Orc is temporary until he has performed a rite of passage. Once an Orc has brought honour to his name, the name of his clan, the elders give him a second name based upon his deed. For an Orc, personal reputation is as important as his or her clan, and most will fight to the death in defence of either. This is in drastic contrast to when they were led by the forces tainted by the Burning Legion, and were a bestial force barely controlled by demonic magic. While the Orcs might seem quick to anger, they are tempered by the wisdom of their leaders and their shamans. There are few of the demon worshipping clans left, for the Alliance or the Horde itself has hunted down most of the remnants of such clans. Now most of the Orcs have embraced the values embodied by the leadership of Thrall, as taught by his mentor Orgrim Doomhammer. The Orcs are one of the most populous races on the world of Azeroth. While many of the Alliance races perceive them to be brutish and savage, the Orcs have forged a complex society that embraces many occupations and many different races. No doubt the leadership of Thrall and the support of the Tauren and Jungle Troll elders has aided in this solidarity, but it is quite apparent that humanity has underestimated the ability of the Orcs to unify and create their own distinct and powerful culture. Perhaps in time the two factions might come to an understanding, but with the current division of Alliance and Horde, no one can say how or when peace might come. When they were freed from the Burning Legion, Orcs experienced a cultural revolution as the unnatural arcane bloodlust left their bodies, giving them calmer and more focused states of mind. They, for the most part, follow Thrall as he forges ahead to reform the Horde, both inside with his shamanism and outside the founding of Durotar. Still, not all Orcs are pleased with these movements, namely the evil Orcs who still reside on Azeroth. These Orcs, who include a good number of the surviving warlocks, actively raid Alliance and independent caravans and towns, and renounce all that Thrall proclaims the Horde is. Like the two faces of the Alliance, the different Horde factions meet rarely, but there are some Orc warlocks on Kalimdor who would very much like to retake control of the Horde forces and are gaining strength in the wilderness to do so. History of the Orcs. The Orcs of Draenor had lived in a noble shamanistic society roaming the grasslands of Nagrand on their dusty world of Draenor for over 5,000 years. They lived in peace with the Draenei refugees and were at war with the ogres. Eventually the presence of the Draenei drew the Burning Legion to Draenor. After investigating their world, the powerful Eredar demon lord Kil'jaeden tricked the respected shaman Ner'zhul into striking a bargain with him. He convinced Ner'zhul that the Draenei were conspiring against the Orcs and were planning on attacking. In exchange for their service to the Burning Legion, Ner'zhul and all of the Orcs would receive the power necessary to conquer vast new lands, and Kil'jaeden would have an army able to crush the Draenei. To obtain this power, the Orcs would need to first drink from the blood of Manaroth the Destructor, a mighty pit lord of the Burning Legion. Grom Hellscream was one of the first to drink and easily convinced the other chieftains and their clans to follow suit. This put them under the blood curse. With the mass murder of the Draenei, the elements refused to aid the Orcs in their war. Believing that the elements had turned on them, the Orcs turned to Ner'zhul. Gul'dan was then introduced as the new leader of the Horde. Slowly the entire race was corrupted into rampaging clans that would later be forged into the Horde. Over the next few decades, Draenei and many other indigenous races of Draenor were almost utterly destroyed, completely devoured by their demonic bloodlust, and without new enemies to fight, many Orc clans began fighting amongst themselves. Petty rivalries escalated into full-scale bloodbaths, and total chaos descended upon Orcish society. The few remaining Draenei took advantage of this and started a guerrilla campaign that continues to this day. During this time, Ner'zhul, who was no longer willing to watch his race destroy itself, betrayed Kil'jaeden and and was subsequently replaced as spiritual leader of the clans by Gul'dan. Gul'dan cared little for the Horde and easily agreed to follow Kil'jaeden in exchange for even more power. Kil'jaeden taught Gul'dan how to project himself into the twisting nether and to commune with the dead. Gul'dan was changed by these encounters and realized how to attain even more power. Gul'dan also changed the way the Orcs were ruled by giving Blackhand the title of War Chief during the war. Gul'dan gathered all warlocks who shared a desire for ultimate power and attempted to share the knowledge of communing with the dead. Many died in the process, but the few who survived formed the initial ranks of the Shadow Council. Through careful manipulation and intricate machinations, the Shadow Council became the real ruling body of the Horde, with the clan chiefs under their thumb. By using the promise of new lands to conquer on worlds other than Draenor, the Shadow Council was able to form a tenuous unity within the Horde. Gul'dan and his warlocks began probing the twisting nether, desperately searching for worlds within easy reach before the clan's bloodlust exploded beyond control. Gul'dan also founded the schools of necromancy to spread the new demonic magics to even more orcs. One night an extremely powerful entity touched the thoughts of many orc warlocks. Gul'dan sought the advice of Kil'jaeden as to what this new presence might be, but his summons went unanswered. If Gul'dan's own tutor Kil'jaeden feared this entity, then it could prove to be a powerful tool if he could re-establish contact with it. Weeks later, Gul'dan was finally successful and opened up communication with Medivh, a sorcerer on some distant world. Gul'dan attempted to probe the designs of this Medivh, but Medivh's mind moved far too quickly for Gul'dan to discern much of any value. Gul'dan knew with near certainty that Medivh was attempting the same and did not want Medivh to gain an advantage, so quickly broke contact. Medivh later returned to the dreams of the warlocks on Draenor, presenting them with images of the land of Azeroth. The Shadow Council, despite the debate over Medivh's true intentions, decided to do Medivh's bidding if he could furnish a way to bring the Horde into Azeroth. Those warlocks who were not members of the council but had experienced the vision were killed to keep the coming invasion secret. Weeks passed with no further word from Medivh, and some members of the council believed he was playing tricks on them, but then the rift appeared. With time and much effort, the Orcish warlocks were able to expand the rift enough to allow Orcs to squeeze through. Though their first scouts were driven mad either by the rift itself or by what they had seen, the council was able to confirm that on the other side of the rift was the world Medivh had shown them. A small contingent of Orcs was sent through the stabilized rift, now known as the Dark Portal, to scout and construct a base of operations. The caution urged by the Shadow Council fell on deaf ears when the clan chieftains learned of how seemingly weak the native humans of the area were. Bloodlust soon overcame the Horde, and they launched a preemptive strike against the most powerful establishment of humans in the area, the Kingdom of Stormwind. Led by Cho'Gall of the Twilight's Hammer clan and Kilrog Deadeye of the Bleeding Hollow clan, this attack ended in a humiliating defeat for the Horde. Each chieftain blamed the other for this failure, and the Horde split into two factions. The Shadow Council attempted to reunite the Horde, but could not act directly, and so they chose an avatar to act as their puppet ruler. Blackhand the Destroyer was named War Chief of all the Horde once again. Under Blackhand's iron fist, order was restored. 'Twas then that Medivh once again made contact with Gul'dan. Medivh seemed even more powerful, but less sane. Medivh ordered Gul'dan to have the Horde destroy the Kingdom of Stormwind and make Medivh the new ruler of the humans. Gul'dan initially refused to do Medivh's bidding. After all, the Horde had a new target, and Medivh's usefulness in Gul'dan's eyes had run out. Desperate to see his plans succeed, Medivh tempted Gul'dan by promising to reveal the location of the tomb of Sargeras, the Lord of the Burning Legion and Kil'jaeden's master. So the first war between the Horde and the humans of Azeroth occurred, ending with the destruction of the Kingdom of Stormwind. Near the beginning of that conflict, the Frostwolf clan, one of the very few clans of Orcs that had rejected the demonic gifts of Kil'jaeden, was exiled to Azeroth, and its leader Durtan was murdered by Gul'dan's forces as a warning. His infant son was left for dead, but was taken in by a nobleman from Lordaeron, fleeing the carnage of Stormwind. The Frostwolves, leaderless, fled to the far northern mountains. Toward the end of the war, a surgical strike was launched by the humans to kill the treacherous Medivh. As Medivh was assaulted, Gul'dan felt the psychic trauma waves that Medivh emanated and realized that his chance to obtain the power of Sargeras was about to slip out of his grasp. He entered Medivh's mind and attempted to steal the location of the tomb of Sargeras while Medivh was weakened and distracted. It was at this moment that Medivh died, and Gul'dan, having been his mind at the time of death, was thrown into a coma. When he awoke, Gul'dan learned of a major power shift within the Horde. Blackhand the Destroyer had been overthrown by Orc Orgrim Doomhammer after he had learned of Blackhand's role in corrupting the Horde. Doomhammer was not as gullible or easily swayed as Blackhand had been, and quickly discovered the Shadow Council's presence in Orcish affairs. He completely eradicated the council through accusations of treason. Gul'dan survived only by swearing allegiance to Doomhammer and by promising to provide a vast undead army for the Horde's use. He formed the Stormreaver clan and began the process of reanimating the corpses of fallen knights with the spirits of the fallen members of the Shadow Council. These new Death Knights, along with other fellow projects, gave the Horde enough strength to advance steadily north, despite facing the might of the unprecedented alliance of all human nations: Lordaeron, Stromgarde, Kultiras, Gilneas, Alterac, and magical forces of Dalaran. The elven nation of Quel'Thalas sent support to the alliance, and after the Horde took their beloved lands of Khazmodan, dwarves and gnomes gladly joined the ranks of the alliance. When the kingdom of Alterac betrayed the alliance, the victory of the Horde seemed inevitable. The Horde was to suffer a betrayal of their own. With victory in sight, Gul'dan convinced Cho'Gall of the Twilight's Hammer clan that he knew the location of the tomb of Sargeras. Together, along with the Stormreaver clan, they abandoned their posts and set out to claim the demonic power for their own. This loss of nearly a third of the Horde brought their campaign to a standstill at the doorstep of Lordaeron. Doomhammer, furious with the insubordination at such a critical time, deployed a large portion of his own forces to attack the deserting clans and their leaders. This allowed the alliance forces to rally and crush the Horde while they were divided. With the destruction of the Dark Portal, the Second War ended, although a number of powerful men in the Kingdom of Lordaeron wanted the Orcs rounded up and executed. King Tyrannus ignored them and had the Orcs placed in internment camps with hopes that they would one day lose their bloodlust. They are cut off from their demonic rulers, and with no way to replenish their fell stamina, the Orcs languished and eventually slipped into lethargy. Several years after the Second War, Thrall, the son of Durotan, escaped from his cruel human master Aedelas Blackmore at the Durnhold internment camp and set out to find the rest of his people. In his travels he encountered Grom Hellscream, who along with his Warsong clan had been hiding out in the wastelands of Azeroth in hopes of another chance at conquest. Thrall became friends with Grom and eventually met Orgrim Doomhammer, who had escaped from the humans' prison several years before. From Doomhammer, he learned about his father and the Frost Wolf clan, the betrayal of his father by the Shadow Council. After learning this, Thrall made his way to the exiled Frost Wolf clan stronghold, where the shaman Drektar taught him about the Orcs' noble heritage and how they had been corrupted by demons. Thrall swore to free his people from the chains that bound them, and as Drektar's new student embarked upon the path of the shaman. Together with Grom and Doomhammer, Thrall successfully launched attack after attack against the internment camps to free the captive Orcs. It was difficult to rouse the Orcs from their lethargy, but Thrall was able to prove to them that their destiny was not yet at its end, and the clans rallied behind the new Horde. Unfortunately, during the attack on the last internment camp, Doomhammer was struck down. In tribute to the fierce and proud Orc, Thrall donned Doomhammer's black armour and the hammer which bore his name to lead his people from their captivity. This internment camp was later captured by the Horde, renamed in honour of Doomhammer, and is now the Horde outpost of Hammerfell in the Irati Highlands. Thrall knew the human nations would not stand idly by and let the Horde regroup or settle down. Fortunately for Thrall, a prophet appeared in the form of a raven and advised him to leave the eastern kingdoms for the distant land of Kalimdor. Thrall, having no better alternatives, captured some human ships and set sail for the new land, taking all of his Orcs out of Lordaeron. During the journey, the Orcs helped a tribe of Trolls escape from their sinking island. Darkspear Trolls were immensely grateful for Thrall's assistance and swore allegiance to his new Horde. When they arrived in Kalimdor, they were greeted by Cairn Bloodhoof and his Torn. The Orcs helped Cairn fend off the centaurs, and in return, he told the Orcs the location of the Oracle. The Warsong clan, however, was sent to Ashenvale, cut lumber, as punishment for attacking the humans without permission. There they battled the Night Elves. The Pit Lord Manaroth took advantage of the fact that the Orcs were losing to empower them with his blood, and thus brought them back under his control. Thrall allied with the human sorceress Jaina Proudmoore at the indication of the prophet, who was actually Medivh. They captured Hellscream and turned him back to normal. Thrall then went with him to confront the Manaroth. Manaroth quickly subdued Thrall, but Grom was able to kill the demon, though it cost him his life, and free the Orcs from their demonic master. With the Battle of Mount Hyjal over, and with it the immediate threat to the world, Thrall set out to found the new Orcish homeland in Kalimdor. Kalimdor. He named the land Durtar in honour of his father, founded the city of Orgrimmar in honour of Orgrim Doomhammer, with the Orcs' new allies, the Tauren, becoming part of the Horde with the support of the Lordaeron survivors led by Jaina Proudmoore. Troll was able to build quickly. However, this was not to last. Grand Admiral Daelin Proudmoore, Jaina's father, arrived in Kalimdor, having left before the war was over to look for any surviving forces, and launched an attack against the fledgling Orc nation. During the initial assault, the Darkspear trolls lost their new home on the Echo Isles, and with the help of Mok Natal, half-orc, Rexar came to live with the Orcs in Durtar. The witch doctor Vol'jin pledged the tribe's eternal allegiance to the Horde in return. Troll, not knowing what humans had attacked him, initially suspected Jaina's forces, but her loyalty was proven when she helped the Orcs destroy the invading forces of her father, Admiral Proudmoore. So, there's a lot more lore to the Orcs than I had expected to find, and I will be splitting this into two parts. This is part 1 now, and the other one, part 2, will be on Sunday coming. So, the Sunday after you hear this, you will get part 2 of this piece of lore. Thank you for watching, and as always, remember, play to game and game to play.